So all of you, welcome to the session. Today's our topic is refrigeration. So let us see what is refrigeration and what is refrigerator. Generally, a refrigerator, you know that we can use every day in our home, right? To protect food items, to store food items. Okay. So right, let us see what is refrigerator first of all. Okay, a machine that designed to flow heat energy from a cold region to a hot region is called refrigerator. See that the machine that designed to flow heat energy from a cold region to a hot region is called refrigerator, right? So what the machine doing here, we know that we can put some materials inside the refrigerator, so that material may be at room temperature initially. So when we place that material, that food item in the refrigerator, what happen, its temperature may fall down. So that means what we are doing, so where the machine, the function of machine is to make it flow heat energy from cold region to a hot region. So it's called a refrigerator. The process of producing low temperature, the process of producing low temperature below surroundings and maintaining the enclosure at the temperature is called a refrigeration. See there, what is happening, what process is generally taking place inside the refrigerator is the process of producing low temperature below surroundings, below surroundings and maintaining that enclosure at the temperature is called a refrigeration. Let us see the principle. A Carnot's ideal heat engine working in the reverse direction is an ideal refrigerator. So here is the main functional elements which are present in the refrigerator. See there, here I am taking refrigerator and hot reservoir which is at a T2 degree centigrade, and here it is cold reservoir which is at a T1 degree centigrade, and here working function, that means external work also shown by the arrow, where W is the external work done on the substance, right, that may be placed in the refrigerator. Okay, so here these are the main elements. So here let us see step by step what process is going on in the refrigerator. So these are the main elements which present in the refrigerator. Okay, in your refrigerator, the working substance, here the working substance is placed in the this circle shown by this violet color here. The in your refrigerator, the working substance absorbs an amount of heat Q2 from the cold reservoir at a temperature T2 as shown in figure. See there, working substance, here the working substance observe the heat energy. How much heat energy it observing? Q2 heat energy from the cold reservoir which is at T1 degree centigrade. Understand? See this arrow mark, this arrow mark shows that heat Q2 heat energy is traveling from cold reservoir to the working substance which is placed here. Okay, now which is placed here, here in this place working substance we can place. Okay, right. So now the next step is what happened, an amount of work, see there, an amount of work W work is done on the working substance, is done on the working substance by some external agency. See that the amount of work W is done on the substance by some external agency, that may be compressor pump driven by electric motor. See there is a compressor backside of the refrigerator. If you observe carefully, every refrigerator must and should possess this compressor. Without compressor, there is no cooling effect, okay, in the refrigerator. So by the with the help of refrigerator, we can do some work externally on the working substance. And then what happen immediately, now the working substance rejects a larger quantity of Q1. Now the working substance rejects a larger quantity of heat Q1 to the hot reservoir that is at T1 degree T1 degree centigrade. See there, here this arrow, see here this arrow, here this arrow, here this arrow represents what is happening there. Q1 heat, larger heat energy is rejected by this working substance, which is what working substance rejected by working substance. That heat energy Q1 is equal to W, that is the work done by the external agency, that is nothing but compressor, and Q2 heat energy, that is received from the cold reservoir. Okay, so Q1 heat energy is rejected by the working substance, which is given to the hot reservoir, which is at T2 degree centigrade. Understand? So the working substance which undergoes a cyclic changes in the refrigerator is called a refrigerant. See what type of working substance we can use, that is very important thing. What working substance we can use here? So commonly used refrigerants are ammonia. The commonly used refrigerants are ammonia, sulfur dioxide, methyl chloride and freons. Commonly used refrigerants are what? There ammonia, sulfur dioxide, methyl chloride and freon. In large refrigerating plants, ammonia is used, while in small refrigerators which may be used in our houses, sulfur dioxide or freon gas is used as a refrigerant. See there, if you take a domestic refrigerator, in domestic refrigerator, food and ice constitutes the cold reservoir. So in domestic refrigerators, food and ice constitutes the cold reservoir. Food and ice constitute the cold reservoir, and the surroundings acts as hot reservoir. The working substance, the work is done by the electric motor and freon, where freon CCl2F2 is used as a working substance that may be refrigerant. In generally, what is happening there? See there, cold reservoir. We know that where we can use food and ice. Now the heat energy is transferred from cold reservoir to a hot reservoir. That means inside chamber to the external surroundings. So with the help of working substance, that may be freon or other sulfur dioxide elements, so that may be refrigerant. Okay, that may be refrigerant. Now, so let us see few properties. Then the good refrigerant should possess the following properties one by one. Should have low boiling and freezing point. See there, should have low boiling and freezing point. It should be vapor at normal temperature and pressure. But the refrigerant, what we are doing as a working substance, should possess these properties. Refrigerant, right? It should be vapor at normal temperature and pressure. Understand, that should be in the vapor form. Okay, now it should be non-flammable, non-explosive, and should not have bad effect on the store food material, right? It should be non-flammable, remember, non-explosive, and should not have bad effect on the stored food. So you have to remember that we should not keep the food items many days in the refrigerator. So, and also you have to clean the refrigerator every week once. Okay, so here next point is it should have high thermal conductivity. Refrigerant should have high thermal conductivity. And the latent heat of vaporization of the refrigerant liquid must be large, hence cooling will be more. See there, the latent heat of vaporization of the refrigerant liquid must be large, hence cooling will be more. Next one is the specific volume must be small in order to reduce the size of the compressor. See there, the specific volume must be small in order to reduce the size of the compressor. Okay, next, it should have high coefficient of performance. You must remember that high coefficient of performance, that is represented by COP, high coefficient of performance. So where the coefficient of performance can be represented by beta, where beta equal to 1 minus neta by neta, where what is neta? We know very well that neta is nothing but efficiency of reversible engine. Efficiency of reversible engine, that can be written as neta is equal to 1 minus T2 by T1, right? 1 minus T2 by T1, where this is what coefficient of performance of COP, that is nothing but COP, coefficient of performance, where neta is nothing but efficiency, where efficiency can be written as neta is equal to 1 minus T2 by T1. That is what the efficiency of reversible engine. In generally, the actual value of this COP varies between 2 and 6. The actual value of COP varies between 2 and 6. So this is all about refrigerant and refrigeration. Generally, what we are using in our home, what is refrigerator, what is the function of the refrigerator, what is the refrigerant, so what we are using inside the refrigerant, and what type of materials we can use as a refrigerant, that is nothing but working substance, and also what is compressor, what is the function of the compressor. So we have seen in this topic. So all of you, welcome to the session. Today we are going to start a new lesson, that is what low temperature physics. So in which what we have to do to get low temperatures, we can apply different methods here. So among the different methods, so one of them is Joule Kelvin expansion or porous plug experiment. Joule Kelvin expansion or porous plug experiment. See there, porous plug experiment. So we know that what is Joule Kelvin or Joule Thomson effect. Tell me, what is Joule Kelvin or Joule Thomson effect? When a gas under a constant pressure is passed through a porous plug to a lower constant pressure region, so there will be change in its temperature. That may be temperature of that gas may be increased or decreased. So this effect is called Joule-Thomson effect. In this experiment, porous plug experiment, let us see how can we get lower temperatures. How can we develop low temperatures? Okay, see there, this is what porous plug experiment. See, initially let us see what parts which contain. Okay, one by one. Here, let us take long cylindrical tube. See there, this middle one is long cylindrical tube I am taking there. Long cylindrical tube. Okay, so now, so here this tube is separated by, this long cylindrical tube is separated by porous plug. See there, here this G represents porous plug. Okay, so what is porous plug? Actually it is a device. Actually it is a part of device. It is filled with the cotton wool. Or silk fiber. Okay, and also it has fine holes. Okay, so this is the porous plug which is made up of silk fiber or cotton wool, and also which contain fine holes. Okay, now so either sides of this porous plug there may be arranged two brass discs. See there, D represents two brass discs arranged either sides of this porous plug. Okay, now so in this cylindrical tube what I am taking is, I am taking two thermometers. See there, this is T1 represents one thermometer and T2 represents one more thermometer, and again we have to arrange two more barometers. So one is P1, it measures pressure here, and where P2 is also one more barometer. So now this one end of this cylindrical tube is connected to the spiral tube, and the another end of this spiral tube is connected to the compression pump. See the compression pump is there. Okay, now so what is there outside this cylindrical tube? See there, outside this cylindrical tube is either side of this cylindrical tube arranged, see the jockey packed with felt. So these are the materials which conducts no temperature, that means which cannot transfer heat from water to the porous plug. Okay, so this is what jockey packed with the felt material. Okay, so again this material also filled with cotton wool and silk fiber here, and see the whole setup can be taken within the water bath. Okay, whole setup can be taken within the water tub. Okay, now And one more thing, very important thing is this cylindrical tube is a non-conducting tube. You have to remember this cylindrical tube is a non-conducting tube. So this is all about the parts which contain in porous plug experiment. Now let us see how it works. It is very easy and simple thing. See there. So I'm taking the gas under investigated. The gas under investigated should be taken within the compressor. Now if you apply the, now let us compress the compressor. Okay, when we apply the pressure in the compressor, so what happens, you know that when the gas is compressed, heat is generated, right? Heat is generated. That means the temperature of that gas is slightly increased. Temperature of the gas is slightly increased. Now that temperature is compensated by the gas which is passing through the spiral tubes can be taken within the water tube. Okay, within the water tube. As a result, what happens? Its temperature become normal. The temperature is equal to the bath temperature. Understand? Now the temperature of the gas is when it is as soon as entered within the cylindrical tube. When the gas is entered within the cylindrical tube, see the temperature of the gas is measured by the thermometer T1 and its pressure also measured by P1. You must know that where the P1 is greater than P2. Understand? The pressure before the porous plug, when the gas is entering before the porous plug, the pressure of the gas is more. That means where we have to take their P1 is greater than P2. Okay, P1 is greater than P2. P1 is greater than P2, and you know that P is directly proportional to T. Therefore, T1 is also greater than T2. So both are measured with the help of thermometer and barometer. Now, so when this gas entered into the porous plug, there exist fine holes. Okay, now the Joule-Thomson expansion takes place. Now what happened here? When the gas suffers Joule-Kelvin effect, when it is entered into the porous plug, which suffers a Joule-Kelvin effect. Now when it is entered another side of the tube, immediately its temperature is decreased. And also as well pressure also decreased. In this way we can reduce the temperature of the gas by using the porous plug experiment. Okay, porous plug experiment. So what it happened here? So when the gas is entered into the porous plug, immediately gas suffers Joule-Kelvin effect. Immediately it may be cooled down. So this is what so happened in the porous plug experiment. Okay, with the help of this experiment, we must know that all gases at a normal temperature suffers cooling effect. Okay, suffers cooling effect except hydrogen and helium. When the hydrogen and helium passes through the porous plug, its temperature is raised slightly. So you have to remember that point once again. So one more thing it is, change in temperature is directly proportional to, where dt is, change in temperature is directly proportional to pressure difference between them, P1 minus P2. You must know this point. Okay, the change in temperature is directly proportional to pressure difference between either sides of the porous plug. You have to remember that point once again. And the another point is neither cooling effect nor heating effect is observed in case of ideal gas. If you take, instead of normal gas, if you take ideal gas here, so neither cooling effect nor heating effect is observed when it is passing through the porous plug. Okay, so you have to remember, in ideal gas case, there is no cooling effect, there is no heating effect when it is passing through the porous plug. And one more thing you have to remember, when the initial temperature is increased, when the initial temperature is increasing slowly, then the cooling effect is decreasing. Okay, when the initial temperature, what is the initial temperature? T1 is the initial temperature. So when it is increasing slowly, then the cooling effect decreasing. At particular temperature, cooling effect will be zero. At certain temperature, cooling effect will be zero. So that temperature is called inversion temperature. That temperature is called inversion temperature. That means at which temperature the cooling effect will be zero. So that temperature is called inversion temperature. ఓకే అండి, ఈరోజు మనము లో టెంపరేచర్ ఫిజిక్స్, అల్ప ఉష్ణోగ్రత భౌతిక శాస్త్రంలో అల్ప ఉష్ణోగ్రతని పొందుటకు, తక్కువ ఉష్ణోగ్రతను పొందుటకు రకరకాల మెథడ్స్ని మనం ఉపయోగిస్తూ ఉంటాం, పద్ధతులను. దాంట్లో ఒకటి Joule-Kelvin expansion, otherwise Joule-Thomson expansion. See there, actually ఈ జౌల్ కెల్విన్ ఎఫెక్ట్లో ఏం జరుగుతుంది అంటే ఏదైనా ఒక వాయువును స్థిర ఉష్ణోగ్రత స్థిర పీడన ప్రాంతం నుంచి ఒక పోరస్ ప్లగ్ ద్వారా, ఒక పోరస్ ప్లగ్ అంటే ఒక రంధ్రాలు ఉన్నటువంటి ఒక ప్లగ్ ద్వారా పంపించినప్పుడు ఎక్కడికి పంపిస్తున్నాము? తక్కువ పీడనం కలిగిన ప్రాంతంలోనికి పంపిస్తున్నప్పుడు ఆ వాయు యొక్క ఉష్ణోగ్రతలో మార్పు కలుగుతుంది. ఈ విధానాన్ని మనం ఏమంటామంటే జౌల్ కెల్విన్ ప్రభావము అంటాం. అర్థమవుతుందండి? ఏదైనా ఒక వాయువును స్థిర పీడన ప్రాంతము నుండి పోరస్ ప్లగ్ ద్వారా తక్కువ పీడన ప్రాంతంలోకి పంపిస్తూ ఉన్నప్పుడు దాని ఉష్ణోగ్రతలో మార్పు కలుగుతుంది. దీనిని మనము జౌల్ కెల్విన్ ప్రభావము అంటాం, లేదంటే జౌల్ థామ్సన్ ప్రభావము అంటాం. అయితే ఇక్కడ తీసుకున్న వాయువు హైడ్రోజన్ హీలియం కాకుండా ఏ వాయువు అయినా కూడా పోరస్ ప్లగ్ ద్వారా పంపించినప్పుడు దాని ఉష్ణోగ్రత అనేది తగ్గుతుంది. హైడ్రోజన్ హీలియం మాత్రమే పోరస్ ప్లగ్ ద్వారా వెళ్ళినప్పుడు దాని ఉష్ణోగ్రతలో స్వల్ప పెరుగుదల మాత్రం ఉంటుంది. అది కూడా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సిన అంశం ఇక్కడ. అయితే దీనికి సంబంధించి పోరస్ ప్లగ్ ప్రయోగం అనేది ఒకటి ఉంది మనకు అల్ప ఉష్ణోగ్రత పొందడానికి. సో ఈ పోరస్ ప్లగ్లో మీరు బాగా గమనిస్తే ఈ పోరస్ ప్లగ్ సంబంధించి చూడండి, ఒక పెద్దటువంటి స్తూపాకార పాత్రని తీసుకున్నాం. దీంట్లో స్తూపాకార గొట్టాన్ని తీసుకున్నాం, ట్యూబ్ని తీసుకున్నాం. వేర్ వీ హ్యావ్ టేకెన్ లాంగ్ సిలిండ్రికల్ ట్యూబ్. ఓకే, సో ఈ ట్యూబ్లో ఏం చేస్తున్నాము అంటే ఈ ట్యూబ్ అనేది రెండు భాగాలుగా విభజించబడుతుంది. చూడండి, ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఇక్కడికి ఒక భాగం, ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఇక్కడికి ఒక భాగం. దేనివల్ల ఇక్కడ మీకు కనపడుతున్న ఈ రెడ్ డాటెడ్స్ ఉన్నటువంటి ఈ భాగం ఏమంటాము? పోరస్ ప్లగ్ అంటాము. పోరస్ ప్లగ్, సూక్ష్మ రంధ్రాలు ఉన్నటువంటి ఒక ప్లగ్. సో ఇది ఎలా ఉంటుంది, దేంతో తయారు చేయబడి ఉంటుంది అంటే ఈ పోరస్ ప్లగ్ అనేది పత్తి, కాటన్ ఊల్ లేదంటే సిల్క్ ఫైబర్ని మొత్తం మెత్తగా ఒత్తిబడి ఒక చిన్నటువంటి ఒక బాక్స్ రూపంలో ఉంటుంది. మెత్తగా ఒత్తిబడి ఒక బాక్స్ రూపంలో ఉంటుంది. సో అది ఎలా ఉంటుంది? చిన్న చిన్న రంధ్రాలను, సూక్ష్మ రంధ్రాలను కలిగి ఉంటుంది ఈ పోరస్ ప్లగ్ అనేది. ఈ పోరస్ ప్లగ్కి ఇరువైపులా ఏం చేసినట్టు ఒక ఇత్తడి పలకలను, ఇక్కడ కనబడుతుంది చూసిరా, ఇది ఇత్తడి పలకలను అమరుస్తామండి. ఇక్కడ ఇత్తడి పలకలను అమరుస్తాం. సో అమరుస్తూ మళ్ళీ ఇది పోరస్ ప్లగ్ ఇరువైపులా చూడండి, ఇక్కడ ఒక థర్మామీటర్ T1 అనేది ఇక్కడ ఒక థర్మామీటర్ తీసుకున్నాం, ఇక్కడ ఒక థర్మామీటర్ తీసుకున్నాం. ఇవి ఏం చేస్తాయంటే ఉష్ణోగ్రతలని కొలుస్తాయి. రెండు థర్మామీటర్లు తీసుకున్నాము. అదేవిధంగా ఇరువైపులా ఈ ప్లగ్కి ఇరువైపులా కూడా రెండు మానోమీటర్స్ తీసుకున్నాం. ఒకటి T1, ఒకటి T2. ఈ మానోమీటర్స్ ఏం చేస్తాయి అంటే పీడనాలను కొలుస్తాయి ఇరువైపులా. ఓకే, సో అదేవిధంగా ఈ సిలిండ్రికల్ ట్యూబ్ యొక్క ఒక చివరని తీసుకెళ్ళి ఎక్కడ కనెక్ట్ చేస్తున్నామంటే ఒక స్పైరల్ సర్పిలాకార గొట్టానికి అమరుస్తూ కనెక్ట్ చేస్తూ దాన్ని మరొక కొనైనటువంటి ఈ సర్పిలాకార గొట్టాన్ని తీసుకొచ్చి కంప్రెషర్ పంప్కి ఒక ముషలకానికి అమరుస్తున్నాం. ఓకే, ముషలకానికి అమరుస్తున్నాం. సో ఇది ఈ సిలిండ్రికల్ ట్యూబ్కి సంబంధించింది. అదేవిధంగా మీరు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సిన అంశం ఏంటంటే ఈ సిలిండ్రికల్ ట్యూబ్ అనేది నాన్ కండక్టింగ్ మెటీరియల్. దీని మీద ఎలాంటి ఉష్ణోగ్రత అనేది ప్రవహించదు, లోపలికి కానీ బయటికి కానీ. ఓకే, సో అది మీరు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సిన ఉష్ణము లేదా ఉష్ణోగ్రత అనేది ప్రవహించదు. ఓకే, ఉష్ణము ప్రవహించదు ఈ గొట్టం నుంచి బయటికి కానీ లోపలికి కానీ. ఓకే, నా ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి ఈ పోరస్ ప్లగ్కి మరొక వైపు ఇక్కడ మరొక వైపు ఏం చేస్తున్నామంటే ఒక జాకెట్ తీసుకుంటాం. ఈ జాకెట్ దేంతో తయారు చేయబడి ఉంటుందంటే ఇది కూడా సిల్క్, కాటన్తో తయారు చేయబడి బాగా కంప్రెస్ చేయబడి ఒత్తబడి ఉంటుందన్నమాట. దీని సరౌండింగ్లో పెట్టేస్తున్నాం. ఎందుకు పెడుతున్నాము అంటే ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి ఉష్ణం అనేది దీంట్లోకి పోరస్ ప్లగ్లో ఉష్ణం కానీ వాటర్లో కానీ ఎలాంటి మార్పిడి జరగకుండా ఉండడానికి సేఫ్టీ కొరకు దీనికి ఇరువైపులా కూడా అమరుస్తున్నాం. ఓకే, నా సో దీనికి సంబంధించిన ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్. ఈ మొత్తం పరికరాన్ని కూడా ఒక నీటి తొట్టిలో తీసుకుంటున్నాం, నీటి తొట్టిలో అమరుస్తుంది. సో ఇప్పుడు ఏం చేయాలంటే ఏదైతే వాయువుని మనం ఉపయోగిస్తున్నామో ఆ వాయువుని ఇక్కడ కంప్రెషర్ మిషన్లో తీసుకొని పీడనం కలిగించాలి. ఓకే, సో పీడనం కలిగించాలి. ఎప్పుడైతే కంప్రెస్ చేస్తున్నామో, పీడనం కలిగజేస్తున్నామో ఆ వాయువులో ఉష్ణోగ్రత అంటే ఉష్ణము జనించి కొంత ఉష్ణోగ్రత అనేది పెరుగుతుంది. సో ఆ వాయు ఉష్ణోగ్రత పెరుగుతుంది కదా. సో మనకు కావాల్సింది ఏంటి, ఎలాంటి ఉష్ణోగ్రతలో మార్పు ఉండకూడదు ఇక్కడ. సో కాబట్టి దాన్ని బ్యాలెన్స్ చేయడానికి మళ్ళీ ఆ వాయువు దేని గుండా వెళ్తుంది, సర్కులార్ గొట్టం గుండా వెళ్తూ, ఎక్కడ ఉంది సర్కులార్ గొట్టం, నీటిలో ఉంది కాబట్టి వెంటనే దాని ఉష్ణోగ్రత అనేది నార్మల్ ఉష్ణోగ్రత, సాధారణ ఉష్ణోగ్రత అయిపోతుంది. ఇప్పుడు ఈ వాయువు చిన్నగా ఇలా ఇలా వెళ్తూ 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 ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళింది, ఇక్కడ మీకు కనబడుతుంది చూసిగా స్థూపాకార పాత్రలోకి ఎంటర్ అయింది. ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఎంటర్ అవుతున్నప్పుడు ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి థర్మోమీటర్ను ఉపయోగించి దాని యొక్క ఉష్ణోగ్రతను T1 మెజర్ చేస్తాం. ఓకే, అదేవిధంగా ఆ వాయువు యొక్క పీడనాన్ని ఏమని మెజర్ చేస్తాము, P1గా మెజర్ చేస్తాం. ఇప్పుడు ఈ వాయువు చిన్నగా పోరస్ ప్లగ్ నుండి వెళ్తూ జౌల్ థామ్సన్ ఎక్స్పాన్షన్కి వ్యాకోచానికి గురైంది. జౌల్ థామ్సన్ వ్యాకోచానికి గురైంది. ఈ వ్యాకోచానికి గురి కావడం వల్ల ఆ వాయువు యొక్క పీడనం తగ్గిపోతుంది. అదర్ సైడ్కి వెళ్తుంది కదా, బయటికి వెళ్ళేసరికి దాని పీడనం తగ్గుతూ దాని టెంపరేచర్ కూడా తగ్గిపోతుంది, దాని ఉష్ణోగ్రత కూడా తగ్గుతుంది. దాని ఉష్ణోగ్రతను ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి థర్మామీటర్ తోటి మెజర్ చేస్తాము, దాని పీడనాన్ని ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి బారోమీటర్ తోటి మెజర్ చేస్తాము. సో ఇదండి, ఈ విధంగా మనము దాని యొక్క తక్కువ ఉష్ణోగ్రత కలిగినటువంటి వాయువును పోరస్ ప్లగ్ ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్ ద్వారా పొందుతూ ఉంటాము. అదే ఇక్కడ చూడండి, P1 greater than P2. ఓకే, యూ నో వెరీ వెల్ దట్ వన్. అండ్ T1 ఆల్సో గ్రేటర్ దెన్ T2. సో ఇక్కడ తీసుకున్నటువంటి మొదటి ఇనీషియల్గా తీసుకున్నటువంటి ఉష్ణోగ్రత అనేది ఇప్పుడు కూడా ఎలా ఉండాలి, ఎక్కువగా ఉండాలి. ఓకే, ఇనీషియల్ ఉష్ణోగ్రత అనేది T1 is always must be greater than T2. ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు ఇలా ఉన్న తర్వాత మనకు కూల్ వాయువు వచ్చేసిన తర్వాత ఇప్పుడు ఇనీషియల్ టెంపరేచర్ని పెంచుతూ ఉన్నాం అనుకోండి. ఇఫ్ యూ ఆర్ ఇంక్రీజింగ్ ది ఇనిషియల్ టెంపరేచర్, మొదటి ఉష్ణోగ్రతను పెంచుతున్న కొద్ది ఏమవుతుందంటే కూలింగ్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అనేది తగ్గుతూ ఒక 0 లెవెల్కి వచ్చేస్తుంది. కూలింగ్ ఎఫెక్ట్ అనేది 0 లెవెల్కి రాగానే అక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి ఆ టెంపరేచర్ ఏమంటామంటే విలోమ ఉష్ణోగ్రత అంటాం, ఇన్వర్షన్ టెంపరేచర్ అంటాం, విలోమ ఉష్ణోగ్రత అంటాం. సో అదేవిధంగా ఉష్ణోగ్రతలో మార్పు అనేది దేనికి అనులోమానుపాతంలో ఉంటుందంటే పీడన వ్యత్యాసాలకు అనులోమానుపాతంలో ఉంటుంది. ఉష్ణోగ్రతలో మార్పు అనేది పీడన వ్యత్యాసాలకు అనులోమానుపాతంలో ఉంటుంది. సో ఇదండి పోరస్ ప్లగ్ ఎక్స్పెరిమెంట్, otherwise Joule Kelvin porous plug experiment. Okay. So now let us see expression for Joule-Thomson cooling here, in which what I am taking insulating tube, AV tube, insulating AV tube. This is what AV tube, cylindrical tube. Here, which contain two non-conducting pistons. Non-conducting pistons. Here I am taking porous plug. So we know very well what is porous plug. Porous plug. Here I am taking porous plug. Okay, now see there, what I am doing here, I am applying external work on the piston 1. See, this is one side 1 and this is what side 2. Okay, so let AB can be an initial insulated cylinder containing a porous plug and fitted with two non-conducting pistons 1 and 2. Suppose the piston 1 forces slowly. See there, suppose piston 1 forces slowly. So what happened? When we apply force externally on the piston 1, immediately what is the gas exists in this chamber slowly trying to escape through the porous plug, right? Slowly trying to escape through the porous plug. See what I am doing, I am applying force slowly. So at the time, pressure, let us assume pressure is constant, that is represented by P1, and the volume of this chamber can be V1. Okay, now this escaping gas applies force on the piston P2. Okay, this escaping gas, the gas which is coming out from the porous plug, applies force on the piston P2 in the, by the way, where the piston moves away from the porous plug, which is moving like this direction. So in that case, now the pressure P2 and the value V2, let us assume. Okay, now see there, the work done by external, work done by the surroundings. See, work done by the surroundings can be equal to here work done externally is what we can take there, P1 V1. Work done externally can be P1 V1. Work done externally on the piston 1 can be P1 V1. Now the work done by the gas on the piston 2. The work done by the gas on the piston 2 can be taken as, this is work done by work done externally by surroundings is how much P1 V1. Next, work done by the gas on the piston 2, on the piston 2 can be P2 V2. Then the net work done by the net work done can be what there? P2 V2 minus P1 V1. P2 V2 minus P1 V1. So, okay. So this is what net work done externally. Okay, by the surroundings. Net work done by the surroundings can be P2 V2 minus P1 V2. See there, one more work is done internally. So an amount of internal work is done by the gas to draw its molecules further apart against mutual attraction between the molecules. See there exists mutual attraction between the molecules inside the gas. Okay, so now what happened? Molecules must move from one side to the another side, right? So there the internal work is done to move the molecules apart from their mutual attractions. So in that case, what happened? If the gas obeys Van der Waals equation, the attraction between the molecules is equivalent to an internal pressure. If the gas obeys Van der Waals equation, the attraction between the molecules is equivalent to the attraction between the molecules is equivalent to A by V square. Attraction between molecules is equivalent to pressure A by V square. See there? Here, first equation, what represents external work done on the piston 1, external work done by surroundings on the piston 1, on piston 1 is what P1 V1. Now, the work done by the gas against the piston 2 can be what? On the piston 2 can be P2 V2. The net work done can be what there? The net external work done. The net external work done can be P2 V2 minus P1 V1. Now the internal work done can be, here the pressure, the attraction between the molecules is equivalent to pressure A by V square, then internal work done. Hence the gas expands from the volume V1 to V2, then the internal work done can be, integral gas expanding from V1 to V2, and the pressure is how much there? A by V square, and its volume change is V, is equal to, if you take integration, what we get there? 1 by V will get there, so minus 1 by V. Here we get there A into minus 1 by V, and limits goes to V1 to V2, and substituting limits we will get there A by V1 minus A by V2. This is what internal work. This is what which represents total work, which represents internal work. Okay, internal work. This equation represents internal work. Okay, so internal work done against to the mutual attraction between the molecules A by V1 minus A by V2, and the total work done can be is how much there? We know very well total work done can be equal to P2 V2 minus P1 V1. Here it is placed A by V1 minus A by V2. Okay, A by V1 minus A by V2. Let us assume this is what equation number 1. Total work done P2 V2 minus P1 V1 plus A by V1 minus A by V2. So here you have to write W, total work done. During this whole process, total work done will be P2 V2 minus P1 V1 plus A by V1 minus A by V2. So we know that where the gas obeys van der Waals equation. Let us take van der Waals equation here. We know that what is that van der Waals equation? P plus A by V square into V minus V equal to RT. Right? Van der Waals equation. Van der Waals equation is what there? P plus A by V square into V minus V equal to RT. Let us multiply this one. PV minus PB. So plus AB by V square minus AB by V square equal to RT. So where AB are small values, A comma B are small values. So therefore, so neglect the term AB by V square. Then finally we have only PV, here it is PV equal to RT, PV equal to RT plus PV plus A by V, right, plus A by V. So let us write this one as P1 V1 equal to RT plus P1V plus A by V1 and P2 V2 equal to RT plus P2V plus A by V2. Okay, so let us subtract this one, what we get there. So subtraction, let us take P2 V2 minus P1 V1. So what we get there, RT get cancelled and we get there P2 minus P1 into V plus and 1 by V2 minus A by V2 minus A by V1. So let us assume this is what equation number 2. Okay. Now substitute 2 in 1. Substitute 2 in 1. See that here we have the term minus, don't forget it. This is what minus. Okay. Here also we get the minus. Okay, here we get this is what V1 minus V2. Okay. So alright. So P2 V2 minus P1 V1 equal to P2 minus P1 V plus A by V1 minus A by V2. Equation 2. And substitute 2 in 1. Substitute 2 in 1. Okay, let us see what we get there. Substitute 2 in 1. So W equal to 2 in 1. So what we get there, substitute 2 in 1, we get there P2 minus P1, P2 minus P1, V and P2 minus P1. So what we get there, substitute 2 in 1. So we get there 2 into A by V1 minus A by V2. This is what equation number 3. Equation number 3. Now, here in this equation, so where A by V1 and A by V2 are very small. Therefore, here let us take PV equal to RT. PV equal to RT. From this one, V equal to RT by P. P equal to RT by P. So from this one we will write 1 by V equal to P by RT. So from this one A by V equal to PA by RT. Okay, from this one we will write A by V1 is equal to P1A by RT and similarly A by V2 equal to P2A by RT. So substitute these things in equation 3. Let us assume this is 4 and substitute 4 in 3. See there what we get there. If you substitute that values, so in 3, let us see what we get here. So here W equal to total work done, W equal to P2 minus P1 into B and the plus here is 2 into, so A by V1 value is P1 A by RT and minus P2 A by RT. Okay, take 2A by RT common from that equation, what we get there finally, W equal to, so P2 minus P1, okay, plus and 2A by RT equal to P1 minus P2. So P1 minus P2. Okay, so let us take P1 minus P2 common. Then finally what we get there here, P1 minus P2 common, we get there W is equal to P1 minus P2 common. Then we get there 2A by RT minus B. So this is what the resultant work done in Joule-Thomson cooling. Expression for Joule-Thomson cooling. The resultant work done is W is equal to P1 minus P2 into 2A by RT minus B. So as there is no heat exchange between the gas and the surroundings, as there is no heat exchange between the gas and the surroundings, then what happened? We know that the temperature of the gas is fall down, right? The temperature of the gas is fall down because when the gas is expanding from V1 value to V2 value, so during the expansion what happened? Its temperature come down. Its temperature come down. So therefore here what happened? There is no heat transfer takes place from the surrounding to system and system to surrounding. System means gas. So where the temperature of the gas is fall down, in that case, hence the gas cools. If minus delta T be the falling temperature, here minus delta T be the falling temperature, therefore then the resultant work is equal to minus Cp dt. In terms of heat, the resultant work is equal to minus Cp dt. So in terms of work, work units, so that is equal to work done is equal to W equal to minus Cp dt into where we can take J, which is that represents joules. So finally, so this is what in terms of heat, in heat units, in terms of work units. So resultant work is equal to next minus Cp dt and J equal to, so P1 minus P2 into 2A by RT minus B. So from this one, the change in temperature dt is equal to 2A by RT minus B, by, here it is minus Cp, let us take Cp into J and into P1 minus P2. Therefore, this is our required equation, and also we know that the delta change in temperature is directly proportional to pressure between them, directly proportional to the pressure difference. Change in temperature is directly proportional to pressure difference. Okay. So above equation is the expression for Joule-Thomson cooling. This shows that T is directly proportional to P1 minus P2. At any temperature T, cooling is directly proportional to the pressure difference. So we know that for a given pressure across the plate, cooling is greater if the initial temperature T is lower. Okay. So this is what the topic. Okay. Expression for Joule-Thomson cooling.